Did you expect when you first opened up shop here in the United States that you would have this kind of capacity that you have now and such an operation?
Honestly not. Honestly it's not. That was, what happened is definitely exceeded my wildest dreams, you know, when we opened shop 15 years ago. I mean, you remember we started from scratch, from zero, from the ground, and we had a small, very small warehouse where we were 3 or 4 employees, and that was the beginning of everything. And so now, at the end of this expansion, which is now virtually completed, we have, altogether, we'll have almost 500,000 square foot of covered buildings. We have 400 people working for us, getting close to 400 people.
And you added a number with this last expansion.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, we added almost 100 with this latest round of expansion. We are now selling, you know, in the 3-digit, and we exceeded $100 million in sales. I mean, significantly exceeded. So, I mean, it's all a different game. As I said before, I mean, that definitely exceeded my wildest expectation and dreams. So, it's good, and it does not look like it's going to end. Hopefully it will not end, and our next interview will be about the next round of expansion, the next idea, the next achievement, hopefully.
And that's something that's on the back burner at this point in time? Do you
Well, I mean, we have ideas, of course. I mean, we have ideas, we have plans, and but right now we need to focus on completely what we have started. I mean, as I said, it's virtually completed, but not fully completed. We definitely had some growing pains, which were somewhat expected, but anyway, we had them. So now we need to make sure that all those growing pains are taken care of, and we reestablish a normal course of operation, which is happening right now. I mean, we're already well ahead in that target. And once we are kind of back to normal, I mean, we can start thinking about what do we do next. You know, you don't want to, you know, people are people, so they need to finish what they've done, or what they started at least, before they can focus on something else. But, you know,
well,
we are optimistic. I mean, we are optimistic in spite, as you know, the market itself is not particularly brilliant. Well, I think the entire carpet industry expected the market to blossom in 2014. I mean, there was a lot of expectation at the end of last year that, you know, there were signs that a significant recovery was imminent. I have to say that I'm afraid that did not materialize. It did not materialize yet. So, but we're still optimistic as far as we are concerned. I mean, the market is still a very large market, and there's still a lot of things that we can do in order to participate in this market.
Well, I think what you had told us earlier about the whole recycling, reprocessing, that's a major move. It's putting your money where your mouth is, and it's something we don't see that much of.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. As I say, it requires some commitment. It requires some vision. It requires decision that an entrepreneur can make, because an entrepreneur cannot, you know, has the privilege not to be fully logic, I would say. It's something that you do just because you feel you need to do it. And I'm not referring to myself, as you know. I mean, we have a major shareholder, which is Giulio Bonazzi, who owns more or less 90% of the company share. So he is the man. And once you make this kind of decision and this kind of undertaking, it's not all based on rationale. I mean, yes, there is definitely some rationale, but most of it is vision. And most of it is just, as I said, trying to do the right thing and try to be in front of the market and try to do something different. So we have a fortune of being in the hands of a single entrepreneur, somebody who has been in this business for his entire life and career. Actually, his father started it, so he's the second generation. And so being what I define as a sole entrepreneur, he has the liberty, I mean, to make decisions which might not maybe deliver immediate result, but still they will deliver other kind of result, which might be not
well,
only
he's
monetary.
certainly a believer.
You need to be a believer. You just do it, invest, and try to change the rules of a game, you know, and not just playing by the same rules over and over and over.
We've talked earlier about the fishnet. You had mentioned the fishnet collection, and that's quite an undertaking. I mean, a global undertaking.
It's a big thing.
The company has become involved.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a big thing. That also was something which at one point popped up of the blue. I mean, while we were looking for sources. I mean, and unfortunately, there are very few products made out of nylon only in the world. I mean, you know, nylon is frequently used, but as a part of a material. It's not used as a pure material. There's a lot of nylon which is going in cars, you know, under the hood. There's a lot of nylon in the body. There's a lot of nylon, but all this nylon, because of required performances, is not pure. You know, 99% of the time it contains a fair amount of glass fiber or other additives, especially glass fiber. So once you have a blend which is 60% nylon and 40% glass fiber, I mean, if there's no use, I mean, you cannot really convert it back. And so wherever you look and you try to find nylon, there are very, very few applications which use nylon in a fairly pure form. And definitely carpet is one of those, you know, the carpet fiber. But still you got the backing and the separation. Textile, there is a lot of textile which is made out of nylon, but all the sportswear and underwear which are made out of nylon, the leggings, all these elastic things, are all combined with elastomer. You know, with
so
lycra.
You can't use that.
Then you can use it because elastomer is going to pollute all the process, so that's not usable. Fishnets is one of the few things which is somewhat available in decent volumes, where nylon is not the only material, but at least it's predominant, and the other material are somewhat separable from the nylon.
Okay.
For instance, in a fishnet you have ropes, and those are made of polypropylene, but you can cut them off. Or you have floats, but you can cut them off. Yeah. And you have weights, which are lead-based, you know, but you can cut them off. So, I mean, it's something where with some mechanical intervention where you can separate and have nylon. And so nylon is, in its pure state, is transformable back in caprolactam. But most of the other thing that you see and look around you, there's a lot of nylon, but very rarely nylon is used as a single material. And that it's a challenge that, I mean, you know, the carpet manufacturer, we wish they could undertake and look at. So how can you make a product from a get-going which is easier to recycle? Today it's not easy. I mean, as you know, I mean, shearing, and there is a very strong bond and blends which are created, like when you make carpet. You use latex, you use primary backing, which is polypropylene or polyester, secondary backing, and all those, you know, are used together and bonded together in order to create your carpet. Once you have to undo it, it's expensive and hard to do.
Do you ever see a day when there will be carpet that will be
100% nylon? That will be.
Would that ever?
I think it might happen. I think there's been some tentative technology which has been developed. You need somebody, as maybe we have been, somebody visionary. You say, hey, this does not make sense. from a cost standpoint, because my nylon-only carpet will cost, I don't know, more than a traditionally made carpet, but there is a value there which is not immediately visible, but there will be value in time as people understand the value of that product at the end of its life. But it requires somebody which would get into it, even if it makes not much sense, from a purely industrial standpoint.
Yeah. Well, all of this technology didn't exist that many years ago in terms of...
No, definitely. It's an evolution. The technology did not exist, and I would say especially what did not exist 50 years ago was the feeling that landfill was becoming a problem, that we had to take seriously the problem of end-of-life products. 50 years ago, this was not really on top of the priority list of people. The problem is to make, not really how to dispose after it's finished. But now, as the population grow, the available resources become scarcer, so there is a growing awareness of the importance of recycling and reusing and not disposing, and make product which can be recycled back into the same product. It's coming. We cannot expect this to happen in a fortnight. We need to give time, and we need to give people the opportunity to realize what is really important and what is the next target we have to have in front of us. It's happening. And hopefully we can, as Aquafil, give a little contribution. To this achievement.
Well, if anybody's going to do it, I'll be over here with my camera.
Absolutely,
we'll be talking about
You're welcome. You're welcome anytime.
Is there anything else I should ask you about that I haven't? There's always so much going on. Have I missed anything?
No, I guess that we have covered all the main bases. We are planning, maybe I can add this. Once this is really finished and completed, we are planning to make an event and invite all the industry stakeholders, to come over and take a look and share the joy of having, made another big improvement. I wanted to do it in 2014, which would have been like the 15th anniversary of Aquafil. Unfortunately, now I'm running out of time because we're not yet in a shape where I could consider presentable to guests. It's still kind of work in process. So it will very likely happen in the spring of 2015, and we're going to call it the Sweet 16, which is would apply to our company. So we're going to celebrate our coming of age in the spring of 2015. I don't have a date yet, but I'll make sure as soon as we have the date defined.
Very good. Sounds exciting. Okay. Always a lot of things going on here. It's always great fun to talk to you, Franco.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here and share with you and your audience.
Well, thanks for having us. And we've been talking with Franco Rossi. He is the president of Aquafil USA, and this is Floor Radio.